that's probably a really great place to get going. It actually is as a female investor. Like, what are your, I suppose, what are your thoughts and beliefs that you've been brought up with a bit? Because obviously I'm not a female investor, so I don't necessarily know. I can try and understand, but I'm not there to understand it. So it'd be really interesting to understand how you felt like growing up and what you thought about money and investing and things like that.
hmm Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I think so for me, when I was growing up, it was very much be careful with your money, save everything, don't like spend it obviously, but just
Yeah,
be sensible, which I think
yeah.
is a good direction and good way to start and go.
Mm.
Um, Obviously there's not financial education as such in terms of schools, like education is very much find your own path, find your own way, and normally it's passed down from your family or some friends and things. So I was very, very sensible and always very cautious actually. I was very much like, okay, I've set myself some goals. Let's just save everything.
Yeah.
Um, which was a good place to be in compared to some of my friends who maybe just went out every weekend or were very sort of blasé, which is
Mm.
a good way to be, like if that's what you want.
Mm.
But for me, I was very much very focused from quite an early age in terms of like school and beyond, or from school, should I say, in terms
Mm.
of like, right, let's save for a rainy day. That was all my goal was. There was no sort of specifics, but it was very much always it was good. I always want to have like some sort of savings pot.
Yeah.
Um, so that's how I started, like from a young sort of school age onwards.
Yeah.
Throughout my first job, which was in retail, so it wasn't a fantastic wage, but I did just then go on to leave school and worked full time, and enjoyed the full time wage compared to all of my other friends. I think bar one went to university, so they were on part time wages. We were very different in terms of like
Mm.
not just wage, but different lifestyles, different experiences, and I guess from that time, a different mindset when it came to money. Um, so I was very much sort of save, save, save until I jumped through to a different career, um, surrounded myself with different folks, different people, and started to learn different things in terms of what's out there and the choices and paths you can take instead of just saving. There's so much more you can actually explore, and particularly, I guess, opening your mind up and kind of going a different path or different route from, say, some of my family or friends who were very against sort of going down the route of not just saving everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I guess to answer your question, short answer would be I very much was very cautious for quite a while in terms of my own circumstances,
Mm.
until yeah, later on in a career. So
Until
and
when?
then
So
it
when
changed.
did that?
Everything
When did
changed.
it shift? When did it shift for you?
So it definitely shifted when I was I'm in my current career, which is in financial services, was when it started to shift, funnily enough. So I changed from retail to that, um, probably after 3 years of retail work or working in that sector. And obviously there was a jump in salary, there was a jump in everything. So experiences, knowledge, and obviously the opportunities as well, not just career wise, but just generally with the folks I met. Such a variety and such a mix of different mindsets. It's incredible to go from a shift of your environment, not just your environment in terms of like personally, but professionally as well, to
Mm.
shift and move to be surrounded by different people with different mindsets that are much more open to things in the world and much more determined, motivated. The sky is the limit, basically, which was so refreshing. And I guess where I got my same mindset from, which I'm so grateful for now that I look back.
Yeah.
So it changed when I jumped into that career of sort of financial services.
Wow.
And at that point, that would have been 2019 in terms of my first actual starting of investing.
Yeah.
Um, and at that point, I was still very cautious. It's still very sort of new to me. For the past year and a half prior to 2019, I'd been speaking with friends and different folks I'd met, about investing, not directly in terms of let's talk about investing, but just through the conversations we'd have. It would be like, oh, okay, you do that, or you're into this, or oh, I've heard of that, tell me more, kind of thing. And then go away and do my research, into the specifics they've been looking at, but just generally the industry as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whether that be like markets or different types of investing or how to get started, I went away and studied that in terms of just finding lots of resources and what that looked like for me, and where I could get started. So
Wow.
that was like a year and a half, a year odds prior to it. And then 2019 was the first the first time I'd actually invested, and started to think about what that looked like for me and what was not just possible, but started to plan things out. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I love
quite
that.
a few years ago now.